Thank you very much, guys. This is Joe with your interview translations. We are here with SK Telecom. It's kind of weird to have not said this for a while, but they do get a victory this time around. And we will have an interview with today's MVPs, Blossom and Faker. Faker, it's been a long time since we saw you here. You finally ended the loss streak. How do you feel? First of all, we had question marks on whether we can win this series today. But you know, our scrims haven't been great. Have been okay, but it always seemed like the competitive play has been the one that's lacking, and I'm think that this game today will give us a lot of confidence in there later on. And I know that Blossom, you know, a lot of people have been hyping about you, about your potential, but were you not nervous today? Yeah, when I get nervous, I think a lot more. But I think that little overcomplicated a lot of things, and but keeping it simpler should be a little bit better for next time. It was definitely your debut, and yeah, I was really nervous, but I just acted like I was really not nervous. So. And it was your debut, but you definitely did help out in ending your team's loss streak, and you did get an MVP as well. How do you feel altogether? I think for the 20 years of my life that I've been living so far, this is the happiest day of my life. Faker, how do you see, you know, Blossom being so happy right now? He's a very pure guy. Did you lose your little bit of purity? Oh yes, I did. Quite a while back. So you know, before we get on to the actual games, and you know, we want to talk about the kind of the off-game thing where you know you really had to endure the loss streak, and it was a lot of struggle for you guys. I mean, it's been about when the games ended in the recent times where we just kind of talked about, you know, let's do better next time, and it has been that kind of the repetitive conversation that we had for multiple series now, and you know, but I was glad that, you know, our teammates were always willing to cheer each other up even through our losses. And you did get the MVP Blossom with the Jax in game 1. And we thought that the gank that you got in the early game was the most significant. Would you like to explain that situation? I think Jarvan should have saw me from that angle, so I was thinking that I might have been caught in that angle, but I just thought, you know, bottom was open right there, and my teammates agree with that. The gank would be good to go with that. So went in, you know, it was a lot of instinctual plays that went well for us. Ending up in game 1 as the MVP. I felt like what today's special was the fact that, you know, you guys, both teams really went with the Azir and really valued that champion quite highly. A lot of the mid champions right now have been nerfed in the very recent patch, and it's really up to, you know, what has been nerfed the least, you know, and then I think for what we have available, Azir really holds its value, you know, from the early game all the way to the late game, so it's a very valid use. We thought that one of the highlights in game 1 was when you suddenly dived in mid lane with the Jax, and did you make your independent choice on that one, or was that a team call? We heard that, you know, the bottom has been killed out, so you know, I knew that I was really near the turret, so I'm trying to go in pretty quickly and try to get as much damage as I can. But it was definitely due to my teammates holding up the other lanes that allowed me to do that successfully. And game 2 was a struggle, to say the least, for you guys. And it felt like you guys were defending most of the part instead of trying to attack the opposition base there.
저는 속으로 약간 진에어전 생각이 나긴
You know,
했는데
it kind of reminded me of the Junior game, and it's kind of a nightmare that was.
그래서
It just naturally came to mind, and
에 바론까지 나갔을 때
after the 3 inhibitors and went down, and the Baron went down as well, and the opponent pretty much did have everything at that moment.
좀 자신 있게 싸우면 어땠을까?
But you know, we just thought that, you know, I think we should have been a little more confident in initiating the fights, even though they were a little bit behind.
기록에서 2위까지 치고 올라갔었거든요.
네.
아쉬워하거나 그런 거 없나요?
And were you not satisfied? Were you not disappointed with some of the things that went down? I think I'm okay with game 2.
약간 블라스턴 선수의 움직임에 대해서
너무 재밌었어요.
약간 상남자 아니냐.
And we thought that, you know, Blossom's movements were very intriguing, and that was a little bit more, less human-like, but more animal-like in your instincts, the way you moved around.
갑자기 막 툭 튀어나와가지고 암살자 챔피언류를 좋아하기 때문에
I really like the assassin-type champions, and I knew that, you know, I could have that animal instincts, as you say, to go out and kill people.
기회도 주셔가지고
And of course, my teammates allow me to play that kind of play style, so that allowed me to really play true to my form. And
좀 그냥 데스만 좀 줄였으면
if I just reduced my deaths a little bit, I think that would have been a more successful debut for me.
페이커 선수가 바라보실 때는 블라스턴 선수 어떤 점이
Faker, what do you think of Blossom right now as a player?
약간 좀 일단
He's a bit,
아까 말했듯이 좀 순박한 모습이
you know, like I said
있는데
before, pure guy is all I can describe him as.
약간 얘가 생각 없이 게임하는 것 같은데
It seems like he doesn't think that much when he's playing, and
각을 잘 보는 것 같아.
you know, sometimes that's a good reason, because he doesn't really have to think, overcomplicate things before he goes in.
네.
제가 포장을 한 것 같네요. 3세트에서 또 카사딘으로.
And let's go over to game 3, where you did pick out the Kassadin.
카사딘이 사실은 좀 페이커 선수에게 아픈 손가락일 수도 있어요.
And of course, that Kassadin could have been really an Achilles heel for you, having not brought the best results in recent times.
이거는 말해드릴 수 없고요.
I can't tell you, you know, about my relationship with using Kassadin, but
지기는 했지만 어쨌든
though we did lose out with that champion before, but
신경을 쓰지 않는 편이기 때문에
I really don't think about my past stats when it comes to picking champions, and I just think of the champion as is.
되게 들어가는 조합으로 잘
And we had the composition that really fit Kassadin very well, so there was no reason to decline it.
그렇죠. 지금 3세트 얘기하는데 또 느낌이 기분 탓인지 모르겠는데 블라스턴 선수가 살짝 긴장하는 것 같아요.
And game 3, we're talking about it right now. We're just chatting pretty peacefully, but Blossom seems pretty nervous about this entire chat, not even talking to him at the moment.
살짝 말리고 시작했어.
그냥 그게 그냥 사영이 형은 딱 그냥 잠깐만 미드 좀
You know, Faker kind of asked me, you know, to try and see if mid was okay to gank, but I went with his Azir, and I came in with the EQ and the kind of the rune from his opponent, kind of procced, kind of unluckily for me.
네, 한 5렙 제가 한 20초 전쯤에 불렀는데
Yeah, I called him in when I was like 20 seconds before level 5, and he came in a little bit early, so he just kind of came in by himself and died by himself, and I just couldn't do anything about it. Sorry.
네, 그래서 조금 미드가 힘들긴 했습니다.
So he just made the mid lane much harder after that one. But all that matters is the win, and you guys did get the win at the end and after the game. And I know that the expressions of all the players weren't all that happy when it comes to getting the win, but in that kind of fashion. How was it after the game?
주위를 잘 안 봐가지고 잘
You know, I didn't really look around after the game.
엄청 좋아하셨던 것 같아요.
I think the coach was happy though. That's a good thing.
들어오면서 우승이라고 하시더라고요.
The first thing I heard when I heard him come was victory. So perhaps that means something there. And maybe this might be a sign where SKT picks it right back up and starts a win streak.
부활했다기보다는 그냥 땅속에 지금 묻혀 있는데.
You know, I think it's not a revival. We're still like
안에서 이제 흙을 좀
we're still underground at the moment. We're trying to pick out the dirt piece by piece and hopefully see the light very very soon. Blossom, your MVP with your debut match. Anything you'd like to say?
제가 열심히 하겠습니다.
I'll try hard. That's all he said.
네,
I promise.
선수가 SKT 대표로 또 팬 여러분께 앞으로 각오한 말씀
What,
드리겠습니다.
Faker, sure you got anything
네,
longer
지금
to say?
저희가 부진한 모습을 많이
I know that we've been
보여줘서
struggling and have been
좀
disappointing
안타까운데
in recent times, and it has been
열심히 해서
something that we want to pick up on and try to better to get better results for the next rounds.
네, 오랜 연패를 끊고
And that will be Blossom and Faker, the MVPs of SKT's finally the winning series. And we will gonna be heading back to you guys.
다시 한번 SKT